If you're making your first vegan birthday cake, you are probably feeling overwhelmed, lost, confused. You are not alone. These are all very normal, common feelings when you first get started with vegan baking. Maybe you committed to making a birthday cake to your friend who's vegan or a coworker. Maybe you have a kid who has allergies and you are just totally like, what am I doing? What have I done? Don't worry, I got you. On today's video, I am covering exactly what you're gonna have to adapt and change in your recipe in order to make a vegan birthday cake and how to make it actually taste good so that not only the vegan person enjoys it, but everybody that's there to celebrate. Are you ready? Let's do this. And if you're wondering, what makes me qualified to give you advice on this? You must be new around here. Hi, I'm Natalia Lima, founder and owner of Curious Cat Bakery, an award-winning all-vegan bakery where I make everything taste just like or better than the real deal. People love my cakes. They have left 5-star reviews. They have told me non-vegans have ordered them just because they taste good. So if you want to make a great vegan cake, like I said, I got you. I also have a free guide for successful vegan baking with my top tips for anyone just getting started. This is the kind of advice that I wish somebody had given me. Now that I've cracked the code, I'm giving it to you. You can download it for free. The description is below. All right, now let's get to this whole vegan birthday cake and get you on your way. In this video, I'm going to cover 1, how a vegan cake is different from a non-vegan cake. 2, replacements commonly used in vegan cakes and some of my personal favorites. And 3, my top tips for making a delicious vegan cake that will have everyone going for seconds. So what is a vegan birthday cake anyway? You're probably wondering what can and what can't I use in this cake. I have a very simple way for you to remember. So vegan means no animal products. So if it has a face or if it had parents, you can't use it in your recipe. Okay? No face, no parents. That means an egg. Oh, it comes from something that has a face and parents. Can't use eggs. How about butter? Butter comes from a cow. Cow has a face and parents. Can't use that. Milk, same thing. It's a very simple rule, really. Honey, same thing. Comes from bees. Face, parents. All right, got it. 2 things you got to check on your list. You can't use that. What vegan is not is gluten-free, paleo, keto, sugar-free. These are all completely different things. There's all kinds of different restrictions out there and that people have. If you're making something vegan, it means no eggs, no dairy, no animal products, no face, no parents. That's it. Everything else is fair game for your recipe. Now that of course means you're gonna have to replace some of the ingredients that are usually in cakes, like milk and butter and eggs, to name a few. So let's get to how do you replace these? What are some of the most commonly used replacements? Let's just start with, do not Google this, okay? There's a lot of bad advice out there. Here are some of the things that you need to know when you're replacing these ingredients in your recipe and how you make it actually taste good. The first thing is milk. Milk comes from cows, it's not vegan. You're gonna have to replace it with a plant-based milk. I have a whole playlist on that. I'll put the link in the description below. I've tested pretty much every kind of milk that you can think of, and my personal favorite is almond milk. You'll see over here that I have a big pile of almond milk that I go through a lot because all of my recipes require that. I also have coconut milk. That's good sometimes to get more of a moist cake. Again, check out that playlist in the description below because I explain the difference between the two and when you should use one or the other. If your recipe requires buttermilk, good news, there is a way to do that vegan. You just mix whatever kind of plant-based milk you decide to use with about 1 tablespoon of either vinegar or lemon juice. Let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and it's going to curdle like buttermilk. And there you go. There you have it. That's vegan buttermilk. Okay, now butter. So butter will be in a recipe for a birthday cake in order to add fat to it, which makes it taste delicious and also helps in other aspects of it. So in order to add fat to a vegan cake, you can use either oil, you can go with vegetable or canola or some kind of neutral oil like that. You can go with olive oil if you want something with more punch and flavor, or you can use a butter replacement. A lot of butter replacements out there, whatever the brand, will be good for making a cake. My personal favorite is Earth Balance. I've said it here on the channel so many times. I believe that's the best brand when it comes to replacing butter, but you really can try all of the other vegan butters that are out there. Most of them, since they're going inside the cake, are a good replacement. If you think you need to replace sugar, I have great news. In order to make a recipe vegan, you do not need to replace the sugar. So put down the maple syrup immediately. I go into more detail on why sugar is vegan in this video over here. I'll put the link in the description below. Make sure you watch it. The short of it, you're all set with white sugar. It's all good. Next up is egg replacements. And yes, I'm going to sit down for this because it's a doozy. See, here's the thing. I would love to tell you that you can just Google egg replacements for a vegan cake and arrive at a very simple formula, and it will solve all your problems and it will taste just amazing and it will be the best cake that you've ever made. But that would be a lie. See, the thing is, and it's the answer that nobody wants to hear, is that you can't just replace an egg that easily. It really is going to vary recipe to recipe, and there's not going to be some magic formula that I can give you on how you can replace an egg in a recipe. It really is going to change with every single recipe that you make, and the only way you're going to figure out how to replace that one is by practicing and trying different things and trying different ingredients until it works for you. That all being said, there are little shortcuts here and there. As a general rule, I would say stay away from a banana, stay away from an avocado. Those things are not going to get you a fluffy, crumbly birthday cake. My personal favorite when it comes to getting a tall cake is a mix of vinegar and baking soda. Those two react and make the cake rise. But there are so many other options out there. I even have made a cake before using the just egg replacement, and that turned out okay. So I have a whole playlist of videos on how to bake cakes without eggs. I also have a few recipes in there, so make sure you check that out. I'll put that link in the description below, and it will get you on your way and give you some guidance on how to replace eggs in that recipe. Now, most cakes need buttercream to finish it off, and the best way to do that is with a vegan butter replacement. I do have a video where I compare it to shortening and margarine, so you can check that out. It's this one over here. I'll put the link in the description below. And once again, I have a whole playlist of videos that are just devoted to buttercream, so make sure you check that out. Okay, so now that we covered what a vegan cake is and what it isn't, let's get to my tips on how to make one that actually tastes good. The first one, I already said it, and that is make it just vegan. Don't try to make it vegan and gluten-free, vegan and keto, and don't try to make it even more restrictive by eliminating the sugar and other ingredients that you don't need to take out. Second, I know that you probably have a recipe for a birthday cake that is absolutely amazing and not vegan. And your first impulse is to turn that wonderful recipe into a vegan recipe. That's gonna be a bit of a challenge. You see, the recipe that you're working with has eggs, has butter, has milk, and that means you're gonna have to replace all of those things in order to make it vegan. Instead of just trying to veganize that recipe all on your own, try doing some Googling for a vegan version of that recipe and try to find one that's closest to yours as possible and make that instead. You're watching this video because you don't know what you're doing when it comes to vegan baking, and that's totally okay. Nobody was born knowing how to do this. But you're in this learning phase. You're like taking little baby steps when it comes to vegan baking. So you're not really ready to develop a full cake recipe. I mean, if you do, great for you, but you're gonna be the exception to the rule. So I think you're better off just Googling a recipe that's as close to yours as possible, that's already been done and is already vegan. That way, it will make your job a lot easier. And the final tip that goes along with that is to give yourself time to practice. You know what the worst time is to learn how to do vegan baking? The night before you promise to give somebody a vegan cake. Is that you right now? That's you, isn't it? That's not good. It's not good. Okay, but don't panic. It's okay. It can be fixed. I do have a few recipes here on the channel. May I suggest that if you're on a deadline, you go for one of those instead. I promise they will taste amazing, and all you have to do is follow the step-by-step instructions. I'll put the link to them in the description below. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. That will show YouTube that there's some actual helpful information in here, and it will show it to more vegans that are in the same spot as you are in the algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget I do have that free guide to successful vegan baking with my top 10 tips for anyone getting started. You can download it in the description below. I will see you guys here next week with a new video. Until then, stay curious.